Coming up tonight, the Anglican bishop calling for the promotion of governmental transparency and accountability. Plus, after all this time, the sale of the Grand Lucayan Resort is not yet complete, and the new airport for Grand Bahama is still not finalized. One attorney gives his views. And fried alligator, anyone? The Cultural Food Festival is back. The details straight ahead. This is our News Weekend edition. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Megan Shepard. Anglican Bishop Leish Boyd calling for greater respect for safeguards to strengthen government systems that promote transparency, accountability, and equity. During his charge to the 119th Anglican Synod Wednesday night, Boyd spoke specifically to the Office of the Auditor General and the Freedom of Information Act.
It also includes things like more respect for something as simple as the public disclosure regime in our country, which persons who run for public office are supposed to satisfy. But unfortunately, we don't really check for this process, and there is no strict enforcement of applicants submitting all the things they are supposed to submit.
Boyd says national issues arise due to the lack of accountability and transparency by those in power. He says if the country continues down this path, we will soon tire ourselves after needlessly wasting precious time and valuable resources while making no meaningful progress.
This deficiency subsequently breaks down into various forms and degrees of injustice, oppression, and self-gratification at the expense of the poor and the vulnerable.
The sale of the Grand Lucayan Resort is not yet complete. The closing date has been pushed to November. Well, this week we spoke with an attorney on Grand Bahama who also sat on the Lucayan Renewal Holdings Limited board, Kerry Leonard. That board is the special purpose vehicle that was created to oversee the sale and to manage the resort's operations. Now, Leonard says he believes the hotel's success is dependent on the redevelopment of the Grand Bahama International Airport. And while he is aware that the government has plans to take part in a public-private partnership, he had this suggestion.
What I would suggest is they consider something that Orlando did back in the 80s, and that was Delta Airlines, actually for a ground lease of practically nothing, for a period of, 10 or 20 years, spent millions of dollars building its own gate section and passenger areas at their expense, and not at the airport in Orlando didn't have the money to do it. And if we don't have the money to do it here, I think we ought to look to different groups who are prepared to build these things and give them a lease for nothing, basically, for 15, 20 years.
The Bahamas Ministry of Tourism completing a successful series of global sales and marketing missions in North Carolina in an effort to re-engage tourism partners and boost visitor arrivals. Minister Chester Cooper leading that delegation and noting that he is excited to be pushing the country as a 16-island destination.
We went to Concord, where the Minister for Grand Bahama signed an agreement for a sister-city relationship. We're going to do some exciting things with them. I won't talk about that. I'll leave that for the Minister to discuss. But certainly Charlotte, North Carolina is an important market. We have 5 major airlift routes with American Airlines from Charlotte direct to Nassau, to Abaco, to Eleuthera, to Grand Bahama, and of course to Georgetown, Exuma. We're very excited about this. American Airlines has been a great partner. We are promoting our 16-island destination.
The missions began in September and included visits to Florida, New Jersey, and New York. Cooper says he is excited about the potential growth of the tourism industry.
We are pushing the 16 island destination. We're excited about this market. We're already 40% ahead of what we've done in 2019. We're hoping to meet our overall target for arrivals in the Bahamas for 2019 for this year compared with 2019. We're going to match 2019. And I remind you, 2019 was a banner year, but we're going to beat 2019 next year. These are exciting times for the Bahamas.
A global shortage of cholera vaccines has led to the temporary suspension of the two-dose vaccine strategy. The World Health Organization's International Coordinating Group, which manages emergency supplies of vaccines, making the call to use a single-dose approach. They say the pivot in strategy will allow for the doses to be used in more countries at a time of an unprecedented rise in cholera outbreaks worldwide. WHO Health Emergencies Program Executive Director Dr. Michael Ryan.
It reflects the scale of the crisis, that we are now in a situation where the ideal use of the vaccine is in a two-dose regime that gives people long-term protection. But the world is facing so many cholera events in so many places that the ICG is now forced to go back to a one-dose strategy, which in itself can be life-saving, but we're not sure about the length of protection. So that means we're adapting our strategies, not based on the vaccines themselves, but on the actual amount of vaccine available.
Since January, 29 countries have reported cholera cases, including Haiti, Malawi, and Syria, which are facing large outbreaks. That's compared to what has been reported in the previous 5 years, when fewer than 20 countries on average reported outbreaks. As for what led to the shortage, Dr. Ryan says there are a number of factors.
But because those stockpiles are of limited amounts, because it costs a lot of money to sustain them, and because these vaccines are not the ones that hundreds of millions of dollars are made on, it's difficult to maintain production. It's difficult to keep companies in production of these vaccines. They're not highly profitable.
What if I told you that I could take you around the world and you wouldn't have to leave the comfort of your home? Well, that was the case today at the 25th International Culture, Wine and Food Festival. This year's event moving to a new location after a 2-year hiatus. Festival President Janet Johnson pleased with day one.
The turnout is very robust. We've got people coming. This is the one festival where everybody says that they see people that they don't see all year, they see here at this festival. And I think that's because everybody comes. The demographic is very, very wide.
Minister of Foreign Affairs Fred Mitchell enjoying the cultural event. He says he believes events such as this benefit international relations.
I'm hoping that the public education effect in the population is also a good one as well. I think that small countries cannot survive, even though we're an island nation, as islands. You need help and support with skills and technology from outside the country. And this exposes the public to that, and I think it's good for us.
With 26 countries represented in 130 stalls, these guests say they are thoroughly pleased with the selection.
I came out specifically for the Belize booth. I have friends and family from Belize, and I know that they've got like great food, great drinks, so that's where I've been mainly. But it's been really amazing to just see the wide variety of Caribbean flavors. You know, you have the Jamaican, you have the Indian, like everything melds into one when you're in the Bahamas. There's just so many different cultures. It's incredible to see all these people here celebrating their own. I'm eating the nachos from Belize, and it's good. They have like jerk chicken tacos as well, very spicy. Everything is like really amazing, authentic flavor.
I came out for the food because I like trying different foods from different countries. And we've just arrived, so far we've had the doubles from Trinidad and Tobago, which were awesome. So I am walking around and trying different foods.
Any other countries you have your eye on so far?
Yes, Singapore.
It's a new experience out here. I've been coming to the Culture Fair for many years, but this year you have the electronic money, so it's a little different, but once you get it figured out, it works fine. Had a beer, had a gyro, and now looking for some other food.
Any other countries you have your eye
Well, the Philippines, they always full. And, we got to go Bahamas, so I got to find a Bahamas tent at some point.
I came out just to enjoy the culture fair. I wanted to see what we have here in the Bahamas. We have a wide variety of culture here. So I came to try the food and enjoy myself.
Well, I love the setup. I love the grounds. So everything looks really nice.
From Bahamas to Trinidad to Belize, Australia, Jamaica, and more. Here's a look at all the festival has to offer. Now the festival continues tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Still to come on Our News Weekend Edition, Foreign Affairs names 6 new ambassadors for diplomat posts. And Russian dictator Vladimir Putin fires shots in support of Russian troops destined to the war on Ukraine. That's coming up when Our News Weekend Edition returns. New Bahamian ambassadors were commissioned recently as a part of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs Diplomatic Week 2022. Following their commissioning, each new ambassador gave remarks expressing goals and thanks for their new roles. Alfred Gray, our new ambassador to Canada, has an ambitious list of things he hopes to achieve.
I hope also to improve and expand wherever possible trade links between the two countries, and to seek investments by Canadian investors to the Bahamas in the areas of tourism, banking, education, sports, and sports fishing. And also to seek educational opportunities and scholarships for Bahamian students studying or wishing to study at universities in Canada and vice versa.
Cheryl Bazard, our new ambassador to Belgium and head of mission to the European Union, wishes to grow our connection with financial services. Sharon Wilson, our new ambassador to Mexico, also shared hopes for strengthening relations between the country's tourism and financial services industries. And Paul Roll, our new ambassador to the International Maritime Organization, detailed his interest in regrowing the Bahamian maritime industry to its former glory. Cedric Scott, our new ambassador to Japan, expressed his excitement in continuing to strengthen our relationship with Japan. And Anthony Ferguson, our new ambassador to New Zealand, had this to say.
Turning to the future, I believe that the fundamental challenge that we face as a country is to achieve a shared understanding of the impact of climate change on the Bahamas and its financial impact on our economy. I look forward to working closely with my counterparts on climate change, as well as to improve the ease of entry into New Zealand and to improve the level of support for the Commonwealth Fund for Technical Cooperation and Economic, Social, and Cultural Development.
Russian President Vladimir Putin inspecting a training ground for mobilized troops and seen firing shots from a rifle in footage, apparently to show his support for soldiers heading to fight in Ukraine. Footage shows a figure who appears to be Putin laying flat on the ground and firing a rifle. In the next frame, Putin is seen dusting off his overcoat, slapping a soldier on the shoulder and apparently wishing him good luck. Putin's visit coming a day after he raised Russia's war footing and declared martial law in 4 occupied regions of Ukraine that he moved to annex last month in a step condemned as illegal by Ukraine, its allies, and the United Nations General Assembly. And when our news weekend edition comes back from the break, a Grand Bahama man is still missing. Let's hear what his family has to say. And not all braces and teeth whitening are above board. Beware of dangerous dentistry. We have the details when our news returns. A 28-year-old Grand Bahama man is still missing. Family members, friends, and those throughout his community in 8 Mile Rock have been searching for Shaquille Ferguson since October 8th. According to his mother, Natasha Ferguson, there were several sightings of Shaquille in the water off West Grand Bahama by people who say he had on goggles and was in a small boat that did not have a motor. She says she was told that Shaquille attended a party the night before he went missing, and at that party he was drinking alcohol and smoking marijuana. The mother admitting that her son had some challenges mentally as he is addicted to marijuana, which has always had a negative impact. She says she has been dealing with the issue with Shaquille for some 10 years and is calling for more assistance in Grand Bahama for parents.
I don't know how much mother have to encounter this with weed and their children with the TCH in the weed and the drinking. They're just happy. Children are just happy-go-lucky, and they feel like it ain't gonna do me nothing. It's okay. It's okay. Just, everybody's doing it, and he feel like he's just having fun.
And with large discussions on legalizing marijuana, she says it's concerning and doesn't agree with it ever becoming legal in this country.
I don't agree with it. I never did. I don't even like it. I don't like to see the young people using it. I don't like to see people using it at all. I don't like to see them drinking. But this is only my feelings, because I always tell them they know I don't approve of drinking and smoking.
We're just days away from Halloween, but the Bahamas Dental Association is sending a warning about a scary practice to be on the look for. We've heard it before: dangerous dentistry. Christina Dragovich explains.
Cosmetic dental procedures like teeth whitening and braces may seem appealing, but without doing some research, you may end up paying a hefty price that may put your health at risk. President of the Bahamas Dentistry Association, Dr. Shamika Strawn, says there's been an increased risk of people practicing illegal dentistry in the Bahamas.
It is illegal, and people have been prosecuted because of it. We're not trying to take bread and butter out of anybody's mouth, but there's a protocol, and they're trained people to do these things.
Aside from the legal ramifications for those practicing illegal dentistry, there are also serious health concerns.
If you're not trained to detect these things, you will put somebody in a position that could potentially compromise their health and put them in a very life-threatening position.
Dr. Strawn says you should be very cautious about getting procedures from people who are not licensed or registered to practice dentistry in the Bahamas.
We had patients who've presented with dental infections, teeth whitening that have been done over large tooth decay. So just remember that all cavities is not visible by looking in the mouth. That's why we're trained and we're equipped to take and diagnose dental x-rays. We in the dental setting, we can assess for oral diseases that may contraindicate, whether it be teeth whitening or braces or whatever the other items are that are being marketed.
No matter how a procedure is marketed, she warns members of the public to check licensing if they are unsure about the facility or practitioner. Reporting for Our News, I'm Christina Dragovich.
Thank you for that, Christina. Well, measles was declared eliminated in the United States more than 20 years ago, but it appears as if cases are reappearing. Studies say the reemergence may be caused by international travelers, and in some cases, people who are now against the measles vaccine. In this report, our Italia Hall speaks with a Grand Bahamian doctor who is encouraging Bahamians to get vaccinated against this disease, as studies have shown that it can save lives.
Measles is caused by a virus found in the nose and throat of an infected child or adult. When someone with measles coughs, sneezes, or talks, infectious droplets spray into the air, and that is how the virus is sometimes spread. Clinical Director for Community Health Services in Grand Bahama, Dr. Stacey Bevan, says the virus is commonly found in children, and the symptoms can appear 10 to 15 days after being exposed. Those symptoms include coughing, body aches, and a fever.
Runny nose. We also have sneezing. A brown rash on the skin can start from head and spread to the whole body. We also have the child looking run down or lethargic. They will lose their appetite, watery eyes. Sometimes the light, their eyes will become very sensitive to that. Now, it is rather contagious. However, we do have immunizations that prevent the measles. And unfortunately, we do have persons that are now refusing to get immunized. As a result, we have now started to see more cases of measles, particularly in the States. They have been reported.
And she believes the reason why some are not getting vaccinated is due to misinformation.
We have to be very aware of the fact that there are persons that are putting out lots of researches on a regular basis, and we have to know which research is scientific, based on facts, and not research that has been falsified.
The doctor is asking parents to vaccinate their kids as research has proven that the vaccine works.
We don't know what the complication of measles may be in a particular child, but we do know that the vaccine helped to prevent it, and so we encourage parents to have their kids vaccinated.
And as for treatments for the virus,
there isn't any definite treatment. We usually treat the symptoms as they present themselves. So for example, if they have a fever, we give them medication to help the fever. And once you're working with your physician, they will guide you on how to take care of the child.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Italia Hall.
When Our News comes back from the break, when will the cool weather come? Like the weather report, it's on the way. Hot, sunny days are slowly winding down. I'm a bit sad, but we have some more to go before the weather starts cooling down. Let's take a look at the forecast over the next few days. We thank you so much for joining us for Our News Weekend Edition. Before we leave, we'd like to wish an extra special happy birthday to our cameraman, Rashad Ferguson. Continue to enjoy. On behalf of the entire news team, I'm Megan Shepard. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.